The eviction notice on my parents' front door was pink. Bright, cheerful, neon pink. It was the only colorful thing in a world that had turned gray and rotting. I sat in my car, a matte black sedan that cost more than the house I was staring at, and just watched. I watched my mother pacing on the porch, wringing her hands. I watched my father screaming into a cell phone. And I watched my brother, Caleb, the golden child, the prince of the family, sitting on the curb, head in his hands, weeping like a toddler who dropped his ice cream. They didn't see me. They didn't know the man in the car was the same boy they threw out like garbage 10 years ago. They were waiting for a savior. What they didn't realize was that the miracle had arrived. But I wasn't there to save them. I was there to watch them drown. My name is Ethan, and to understand why I felt nothing but cold satisfaction watching my family fall apart, we have to go back to the night they decided I was disposable. Growing up, our house had an unspoken rule. Caleb was the main character, and I was the background noise. I was 2 years older than Caleb, but by the time I was 12, I knew my place. If a vase broke, I did it. If Caleb failed math, it was because I didn't tutor him well enough. My parents, David and Martha, erased me. I remember my 16th birthday. I came downstairs hoping for maybe a card. Instead, I found the living room filled with balloons. Happy birthday strung across the wall. For a second, my heart soared. Then Caleb walked in, grinning. Mom, Dad, look, I made the varsity soccer team. The party wasn't for my birthday. It was a celebration for Caleb. When I asked about my birthday, Mom looked at me with genuine confusion and said, "Oh, Ethan, don't be selfish. This is your brother's big moment." But the end came when I was 18. I had been saving money from odd jobs, mowing lawns, fixing computers. I had about $2,000 hidden in an old shoebox in my closet. It was my escape fund for trade school. One afternoon, I came home to find my room tossed, mattress overturned, drawers pulled out, and the shoebox empty. I ran downstairs. My parents were in the kitchen, beaming. Caleb was holding a set of keys to a used car. "Look what we got, Caleb," Dad said, proud as a peacock. "He needs it for his social life." When I asked about the money, Mom said, casually, "We found some cash in your room. We figured you were saving it for the family." Anyway, I snapped. For the first time in my life, I screamed. I told them they were thieves. Dad stood up, walked over to the front door, and pointed outside. "If you're going to speak to us like that," he said, "you can live somewhere else." Caleb dangled the keys and sneered. "Get out, loser." I left with a backpack and $12 in my pocket. For the first 3 months, I was homeless. I slept on park benches and showered at a local gym. But hitting rock bottom clarifies your vision. I stopped being Ethan, the victim. I became a machine. I found a job as an apprentice for an electrician named Old Man Miller. While Caleb was crashing that car and partying through a college degree my parents couldn't afford, I was crawling through crawl spaces filled with rats. I saved every penny. By 22, I was a licensed master electrician. By 24, I bought Miller out. By 26, I rebranded to Volt Solutions and started doing smart home integrations for luxury estates. I met my wife, Alina, an architect who saw me for who I was. I worked 18-hour days. My company grew. I bought a sprawling modern house overlooking the city. I drove nice cars. I wore tailored suits, but I never reached out. To them, I was dead. Occasionally, I'd check up on them through an old neighbor. The news was always the same. Caleb dropped out of college. Caleb started a business, but it failed. Caleb got a girl pregnant, but she left him. My parents were draining their retirement to keep the golden child shining. But gold is heavy, and eventually, it drags you down. It was a Tuesday when the phone rang. It was my mother. "Ethan, please don't hang up," she said. "Mrs. Gable gave us your number. It's your father. He's not well, stressing. Things are hard. We heard you're doing okay, that you're an electrician." They thought I was just a guy fixing outlets. They had no idea I owned the largest contracting firm in the state. Curiosity is a poison, so I agreed to come to dinner. I didn't drive the Ferrari. I drove an old company truck. I wore jeans and a plain t-shirt. I wanted them to think I was exactly who they expected me to be. Barely getting by, I pulled up to the house. The lawn was overgrown. The car bought with my money was rusting on blocks. Inside, the smell of stale smoke hit me. My parents looked 20 years older. And there was Caleb, bloated, nursing a beer. "Look who crawled back," he sneered. Dinner was excruciating. Then, the pivot happened. Dad cleared his throat. "Ethan, we're a little liquid poor right now," Caleb interrupted, slamming his hand on the table. "I've got this investment. Crypto, it's gonna blow up. Mom, tell him." Mom looked at me with pleading eyes. "Ethan, we're behind on the mortgage. Caleb just needs a bridge loan. $50,000. Once his coin hits, he'll pay you back double." I put my fork down. "Let me get this straight," I said softly. "You kicked me out at 18. Stole my savings. You haven't spoken to me in a decade. And the first time you see me, you asked for 50 grand so Caleb can gamble it." Caleb laughed. "I told you, Mom, he's a loser. Why did we even invite him?" I stood up and walked out. As I reached the door, Caleb shouted, "Walk away. We don't need you. I'm gonna be a millionaire next month, and you'll be begging me for a job. 2 weeks later, that brings us back to the pink eviction notice. I hadn't lied to them. I didn't give them the money. But I did make a phone call. I called the bank that held their mortgage. A holding company I owned bought the debt. I sat in my black sedan, watching them cry on the curb. They had 24 hours to vacate. I rolled down my window. Caleb looked up. He saw the car first, a $150,000 machine. Then he saw me. In the tailored suit, the sunglasses, I stepped out. Ethan, Dad wheezed. Is that your car? It is, I said. Mom scrambled up. Ethan, oh thank God. You've done well. You can fix this. Pay the bank. I looked at the house where I was ignored. I actually already spoke to the bank. I said, I bought the house. I own it now. They froze. So we can stay? Mom asked, trembling. No, I said. The word hung in the air. This property is distressed, I said, using my business voice. I'm tearing it down. I'm building a duplex here. It's strictly an investment. You're kicking us out, Dad screamed. Your own parents. You kicked me out when I was a child with nothing, I said calmly. You are 3 adults. Figure it out. I turned to Caleb. Better get walking. Golden child. I walked back to my car. Mom threw herself on the hood. I'm your mother. I lowered the window one last time.